Hi, in this video, we are going to see how to evaluate the band gaps or the dispersion curve of one-dimensional phononic crystals in COMSOL multiphysics. So these are the phononic crystals. They are mainly classified into these three types: one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and three-dimensional phononic crystals. They are basically artificial periodic materials which shows band gaps for elastic waves. So to evaluate the band gaps of 1D phononic crystals in COMSOL, firstly we need to know what are the assumptions which comes with one-dimensional phononic crystals. Firstly, the layers of 1D periodic crystals, they are extended infinitely in x and y plane, and at the same time the unit cells, they are repeated infinitely into the z direction. So we have to see how do we satisfy these assumptions in COMSOL. So let's go to COMSOL and see how to do it. So as soon as we open the COMSOL, you will see this window, and we need to go to Model Wizard, and we will be uh, finding the band gaps of 1D phononic crystals using 2D space. So we will be actually designing the 1D phononic crystals in 2D space, and how we will be doing it, I will be showing you it in just a minute. So after selecting the 2D space, we need to select the type of physics, and the physics type we will be using is solid mechanics. Add it and go on. Further, in select studies, we have to select the eigenfrequency and done. We will save it afterwards and continue. Okay, so after selecting the physics and the type of study, we will be shown this window by COMSOL. Now, basically, in order to find the band gaps or the dispersion curve, what mainly we will be doing is we will be solving the eigenvalue problem for periodic conditions. So the eigenvalue problem will be solved for periodic conditions in irreducible Brillouin zone. So how to do this? Let's see. Firstly, we need to define some global parameters. That Those global parameters will basically be our material and geometric properties and the space in which we have to find the band gap, and that space would be nothing but the irreducible Brillouin zone. So let's see the global parameters. First, let's define the material and geometric properties. So we have here is a unit cell which consists of concrete and rubber, and concrete, we need to define these properties: elastic modulus, Poisson's ratios, and density of both concrete and rubber, along with their geometric properties, which we will be taking it as 0.2 meter. So let's do it. So elastic modulus, I will be naming elastic modulus of concrete as 1. So the subscript 1 will be used for concrete throughout, and 2 will be used for rubber throughout. So for concrete, our elastic modulus is 25 gigapascals. We can give the units here. And for rubber, it will be E2 0.147E6 Pascal. You can see it here, it is 0.147 Pascal. Okay. And then let's define the densities as D1 2300 kg per meter cube for concrete. Moving on to rubber, density of rubber would be 1100 kg per meter cube. And then the Poisson's ratio, I'm naming it as PR1 for concrete, it will be 0.28, and PR2 for rubber 0.463. Further, the height of the layer for concrete will be 0.2 meter, and for concrete and rubber both it will be same only, 0.2 meter. And the overall height of the unit cell, obviously it will be L1 plus L2. Now let's define a parameter K. This K parameter is for finding the frequency band gaps in irreducible Brillouin zone. So to do this, we will have to carry out a parametric study, and that parametric study will be carried out in between in between minus pi by a to plus pi by a. So for doing this, we are defining a parameter k. Let's for the time being take it as 1, and ky, this ky, it will vary from minus pi by a to plus pi by a, that too in the direction of, it will be defined in the direction of z, the periodic boundary condition in z direction, and a parametric sweep study will be carried out in z direction by using the sweep parameter k. So we will be varying k from minus 1 to 1. So it will be indirectly, we will be varying it from minus pi by a to plus pi by a. Okay, so I think all the parameters needed required for finding the band gaps, we have already defined it. So let's move on to geometry. Basically, we can see that we have a rectangular geometry here. So go to geometry, select rectangular geometry, and here the width of our rectangle would not matter, because however we will be applying uh, continuity boundary conditions on this interface, because the 1D periodic structures, it comes with an assumption that it will be expanding infinitely in the xy plane. So we need to apply continuity periodic condition in the x direction, and in the z direction we will be applying Bloch-Floquent periodic condition. So what I was saying, that the width of the periodic unit cell will be of no significance, because however we will be applying the continuity conditions in the x direction. So the width of the unit cell, let's take it as 0.05 meter, and let me inform you that the lower you take the width of this unit cell and apply the continuity condition, the better or accurate could be the result. That is according to my observation. So let's take the width as 0.05 meter and apply continuity boundary conditions along that direction. And the height, as we know, the overall height of our unit cell is a, which we have already defined in global parameter. And let it start from 0 0, that is at the origin. And we already know that our unit cell has two layers. So let me define the first layer of length L1, and the layer 2 will be automatically defined because the overall height is a, and I am defining first layer as L1. So the second layer which would be remaining will be automatically created, as it can be seen here. So that's all about geometry. Now let's move on to materials. I will right click on material and select blank material, and here both of our layers are already selected. So I will remove both of them in order to avoid any confusion, and select first the concrete, and we have given the concrete properties with subscript 1. So let's put on this here, and D1. Okay, so our concrete properties has already been defined, and you can name it here concrete in order to avoid confusion. So that's what all about concrete. Now let's move on to rubber. Name it as rubber. Select the rubber and put on the properties T2, TR2 and T2. Okay, so this was all about materials. Now let's move on to the solid mechanics. In solid mechanics, we need to apply some periodic conditions. So go to physics. In physics, we can see the boundaries. In boundaries, under connection tab, we have periodic conditions. In periodic condition, this window will open, and the type of periodicity we can see here by default is continuity. So let it be, and we will just along the width we will apply this boundary condition, because this should be infinitely expanded, and that we can do easily by using continuity periodic condition. Now in the next step, we have to select the periodic condition. In periodic conditions, select Bloch-Floquent periodicity. Now this is the x direction, this is the y direction. We know that the unit cells are repeating in y direction. So we need to give the irreducible Brillouin zone parameter ky in the y tab and select these two boundaries for applying Bloch-Floquent periodic boundary conditions. Okay, so both of the periodic conditions we have applied it successfully. Now let's create mesh. You can create mesh of any size by default, extremely finer or extra fine. Let's go for extra fine and build it. Okay, so meshing is done. Now in the study, we need to define one more study, that is the parametric study. In parametric study, we need to select here the k parameter, and our k parameter, it will be varying from -1 to 1. We already know that we have given our irreducible Brillouin zone has k into pi by a. So now it will be varying from minus pi by a to plus pi by a. Okay, we need to number of values. Okay, start from -1, stop at 1, and the number of values, let's give it as 50. Okay, add. So the parametric tab has been defined. Now go to eigenfrequencies. Let's find the first 10 desired frequencies. Okay, so everything has been done now. Now the only thing we have to do is go to home and compute our results. So it may take some time. So after a time of about 1 minute and 38 seconds, console has finished the computing part. Now to see the dispersion curve for the band gap, we know that the band gaps are nothing but a graph in between the wave number k and the eigenfrequencies. So to plot those, we need to right click at results. In results, we have to select 1D plot group. 1D plot group, again right click and go to global. In global, in the dataset type, we have to select it parametric solution. And now at y-axis data, we have to give the expression. We have to give the expression solid fric. This is still nothing but plot the eigenfrequencies for us and enter. Next, this was about y-axis data. Now at x-axis data, we have to change this to outer solution, and in the parameter we have to select the expression, and the expression is nothing but our wave number k. Okay, and let's also do some extra things, that is the coloring. And in coloring, the color, let's plot it with a uniform color of blue and plot it. Okay, so we got our dispersion curves here, and let's remove this legend to clearly see it. So in console, we cannot separately find the band gaps or the dispersion curves for the P waves or for the longitudinal wave and for the transverse wave separately. It will give us the overall band gap for the P as well as for the S wave, because we are doing the 2D analysis here. So it will be giving us the band gap for both the type of waves. Now let's compare this band gap with our reference results. So I will just take a snapshot here. I have deselected the results and I have deselected the legends and the grid and pressed OK. Now let's go through our slides, and here you can see the band gap I have already put in for the transverse wave and the longitudinal wave. Let's paste the band gap which we got it from console and compare the results. So here you can see from the observation only, it is clear that the band gap for longitudinal waves, they are kind uh, of greater width, and the starting frequency is also higher as compared to that of transverse wave. So we need to differentiate in between the S wave and P wave from our basic idea of P and S wave band gap. So here it can be seen that the band gaps are matching pretty much good with our reference results, which are calculated using transfer matrix method. Okay, so this was all about how to calculate band gap for 1D phononic crystals. Thank you.